Our good friend back on the program, hanging out with Chris Rose, who no doubt is flipping out overall what's gone down with his Browns and Cavs over the last couple of days. But the man you can watch with Chris Rose on MLB Network's Intentional Talk at 3:30 p.m. Eastern and again at 5 throughout the offseason. He's Kevin Millar back here on the program. How are you, Kevin?
Rich, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Okay, so I guess I'll ask it to you now that we know it is complete and that the Red Sox are bringing home another trophy for the case. That a run that you were part of the beginning of back in the day. How'd they do it? How did they do it?
You know what? They have a motto in that clubhouse, and it's humble at bats. It's a group of guys, especially now. You just see them; they're ball players, and they have humble at bats, which means they're working for the next guy behind them. In this day and age, like I said, it's tough because the money's so big and there's selfishness going on, and home runs pay or whatever it is. But it was a very unique situation being around these guys from Benintendi to Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts and J.D. Martinez, your two stars, very humble. They put together a group like Brock Holt, hits for the cycle in the postseason, but they tremendous at-bats and grind you all the way through, and then you look up and they had 19 wins when it's all said and done with the World Series trophy and 108 wins leading the league this year. So they were underdogs a few of the games in Dodger Stadium, and it's just like they don't get the credit.
So John Henry said afterwards, Kevin, that it's the best Red Sox team ever. As somebody who broke the jinx in 2004, would you agree?
They have the most wins ever. It's hard because our 04 team, and listen, I played on that team. I knew the group of guys. We were very similar. So I used a very similar type team to say it's better. It's always better when, they just won. I don't know if you can say better. I mean, you got a lot of Hall of Famers on our team, and the run that we had, being down 3-0 to the Yankees and winning 4 straight against them, and then going in and sweeping the Cardinals, who were the best team in the big leagues that year. I think they had like 105 wins, and we were a wild card team. It's hard to say better, especially a first championship in 86 years. And Pedro Martinez and Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz and Kurt Schilling. I mean, there was a group of guys out there with some star power, but we were just a bunch of regular guys also. So I wouldn't say better. I would say very similar.
So who would you peg right now as potential Hall of Famers on the Red Sox team that just won the most wins that you point out?
Well, if I was to point somebody out, you're looking at a Mookie Betts. I mean, he could be one of the top 3 players, obviously, in the big leagues right now, and who knows with his athletic ability how long this is going to go, but he is a star. I mean, J.D. Martinez has turned himself into the best right-handed hitter over the last couple of years and really figured something out, whatever that is, whatever that secret medicine is. I'm sure he shared it with the team this year because he got better through Miguel Cabrera and has taken that over to Boston in his first year. So he could be a potential guy. They got David Price. You got to tip your hat to what he's gone through and the whole 0-9 in the postseason. His last 3 starts, boom, 3-0. He threw in 4 of the 5 games, in this game, or 3 out of the 5, whatever it was. I mean, out of the bullpen and starting. So there's a lot of great stories. Porcello, Chris Sale out of the bullpen. Evaldi, are you kidding me with that bullpen situation on the 18-inning game? 97 pitches night, and he was ready to throw the next day, he told Alex Cora. So they had a lot of guys that looked Alex in the eyes and said, I'm available however you need me, and that's when you check the ego in.
So do you think, Kevin Millar here on the Rich Eisen Show, since, you mentioned Betts as a potential Hall of Famer and then went down a list and I guess the names diminished from there, to be very honest with you. Do you think this team is built for the era of bullpenning and the era of where everybody else either walks or homers or strikes out, that this team makes contact and that they had a manager that pushed buttons knowing that, I guess, is this built for the analytics era, this Red Sox team?
They have a little bit of both. I just think the analytics, you can't go all in with it. You can't go a full season with an entire bullpen scene. You can go a short series. The Brewers prove that they can compete with that. But when you're talking about a 162 game schedule, and not everybody's got the same finances, and you understand that. But the starter is important. And I know we've gotten out of it for a second, but you need guys to go longer into games for the long season, or those bullpen arms will be out unless you're going to keep rotating guys. And then it gets real kind of dicey when you're talking about how do you pay a starter? How do you pay a Dallas Keuchel who's going to hit free agency this year? It's a good starter. It's been a great starter, and a Cy Young guy, and you're looking out there now. Our starter's not valued, but boy, when you got a big game in the postseason, you need that starter to give you some depth. And I know 4 and 5 innings, was a big deal this year. We saw Severino for the Yankees, go 4 innings, and he got a standing ovation in Yankee Stadium. Back in the day, you would have got booed. So it's a very interesting dynamic, information-wise, in all sports. Give us the information, but you still got to have the eye test, Rich. We still can't lose sight of that and watch the game.
So do you think your buddy Dave Roberts made the right move with Rich Hill in Game 4, or that's just 20/20 hindsight, obviously?
Yeah, I think Dave Roberts, has gotten a lot of heat and maybe not deserved, because behind the scenes, I know there's a lot of information being given to him and from the front office down. So, is it something that they say, hey, put in Alexander immediately if Rich Hill goes lefty on lefty? Is it something that they, Matson bring him in? I mean, I'm sure Dave gets to make those decisions, and those decisions didn't work out. But, there are decisions you're going to get questioned on, and I'm sure that Rich Hill decision didn't work out, so he's going to get questioned on. He got questioned on that last year against the Astros when Rich Hill went 4 innings and gave up 1 run, 7 strikeouts, and they brought him in and brought in Brandon Morrow, and it didn't work out. And so if it works out, you're great. Alex Cora, pinch hit home run by Mitch Moreland, a 3-run home run, looks like a genius. So you're only as good as your players doing their job, and the job that the bullpen, didn't do the job for Dave Roberts and the Dodgers.
Kevin Millar here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what would you do if you're the Dodgers? That's 2 years in a row they made the World Series, and they fall short. Kershaw could opt out. Manny Machado can walk. What do you think they should do?
Well, I don't think Kershaw's going to opt out. I think you have a star in Walker Buehler. We saw that. It's almost like a changing of the guards now. I mean, tremendous presence for a young guy. Last year he's watching the World Series with his sister in the stands. This year he's pitching and going 8 innings of basically a few hits and dominating, and lost to a Jackie Bradley 2-out home run. They ended up winning that game, I believe, but, Jackie Bradley tying it off Kenley Jansen in the 8th. So they have a lot of positives. You have Corey Seager coming back. They're going to have to, are they going to sign a Manny Machado back? Who knows? They have, Justin Turner. They have a nice team, but there are some things that they just haven't gotten over that hump.
Would you do it? Would you want to keep Machado if you were the Dodgers?
You got Seager. In my opinion, you got a young stud shortstop. I don't know if you need to spend the big dough. I don't know what his salary is going to dictate. We've heard anywhere from $200, $300, $400 million for Bryce Harper's and Machado's. The money's crazy to me, right? I don't know, but I'm sure Manny Machado's going to go out there and have a few teams. But if I'm the Dodgers, if Corey Seager's healthy, you have a young stud shortstop that I'm sure has a high ceiling.
Okay. What if you're the Yankees? What moves do you make this offseason, Kevin Millar?
Now, that's where it gets interesting, right? Obviously, they're going to be in the Machado. There's only a handful of teams that can afford a Manny Machado, right?
Why would they? Look, I know Didi Gregorius has got the arm surgery, and they'd have no idea. But why would they do that? I mean, I have no idea why they would do that. Is Machado going to be a starter? Is he going to pitch? I mean, that makes no sense to me.
It only makes sense because they're one of the organizations that have the big dough. So anybody that's a big price gets linked to the Yankees. Maybe they're not involved, right? We just say that because they're one of the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Red Sox, can afford a big price ticket type player like Machado. It's just who needs them. So that's where it becomes interesting, especially when Bryce Harper's available. I mean, where's he end up? So I'm sure it's going to be a domino effect.
And I guess last one for you, Kevin. What do you think the Astros should do? What do you think? What do you think the post-mortem on the defending World Series champs no more season would be?
Yeah, they're such a great team. They're almost like you thought they were like a dynasty type with that staff. Alex Bregman, that leadership that he's brought. Altuve, Correa, bad back, didn't have a great year. Does he bounce back? Springer, they have stars. They have young stars. I don't think they do anything other than they might see what Keuchel happens to Keuchel and maybe replace him. But I mean, with Charlie Morton and Verlander, and you got foundation. Lance McCullers, if he's healthy, he's as good as anybody. You have Garrett Cole still there, so they're in a good spot. I think now they just they piece together a few bullpens here and there. We all learn from bullpen situations every year. We saw it in 2014 with the Royals when they had that run. It started with the bullpen. It kind of started changing how free agencies guys in the bullpen start getting money. They start finally getting paid the $20 million that bullpen guys never really got paid.
You going to the parade, Kevin?
No, I am in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
It's nice to be home for Halloween, and I'll be watching on TV just like everybody else.
Who are you going for to Halloween? Who are you going to be?
Well, I got four little dudes.
Yep.
What if I go as Kevin Millar? Just go full Red Sox, eye black. Would that be just really bad, Richie?
It's called uninspired, Kevin. That's what it's called. It's called uninspired, and you're better than that. I'll be very honest with you.
That's right.
You're better than that.
All right.
Come on.
Then I'll just go. I'm gonna go up to Target today, and I'll grab a costume. I'll let you know where I'm gonna be.
How about this? You could go in a Red Sox uniform and go as bet losing A-Rod. You could do that. See what I'm saying? Like, see, now that's inspired. At least if you're gonna just tap out and use a Red Sox outfit, you could just be inspired and say you're A-Rod who lost a bet.
Yeah, I could be the A-Rod Red Sox guy. You know what I'm saying? And then give Poppy a shout out in that situation. By the way, that was a great skit you had going.
You could
made $500 million, Richie, and he's in a Red Sox uniform.
You could also play New York on a boombox and say you're Aaron Judge. You could do that too.
That didn't work out either for him either.
Now, do you think that really meant something? Because I know they played that in the clubhouse in Los Angeles when they're partying the World Series. Do you really think that inspired them, Kevin?
There's always a little something you write on the billboard and inspires you. It doesn't mean that, oh, yeah, now we're going to try harder, But, yeah, it's kind of fun. There's always skits going on with every team. So that worked out in their favor, and it was a great skit for the Sox.
Okay. All right, Kevin. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. This is fun.
All right, Rich. I appreciate you, brother.
You got it. Right back at you. We'll chat again soon. That's Kevin Millar here on the Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.